Zahra Clare Baker came into the world on November 16, 1999, in Wagga Wagga, New South Wales, Australia. From the very start, her life would be defined not by ease or privilege, but by challenges that would test her strength in ways few children are ever asked to endure. Yet those who knew her in those early years remembered her not as a child defeated by circumstances, but as one who radiated a brightness that seemed almost miraculous against the odds. That a fragile start. Zahra's early childhood was marked by instability. Her mother was not a central figure in her life, and much of her upbringing fell to her father, Adam Baker, and extended family. Adam was young himself, still navigating adulthood, and at times struggled to provide the steady foundation every child needs. But even in that uncertainty, Zahra's spirit showed itself. She was talkative, playful, and deeply affectionate, always eager to connect with others. Her family recalled that she had a particular knack for making people laugh, whether through silly jokes, playful antics, or her Adam was central. Adam Baker wasn't perfect, far from it. He struggled financially, sometimes moved from job to job, and often relied on family support. But his love for Zahra was evident. He stood by her side in hospitals, encouraged her through treatments, and tried to make her world feel safe even when it wasn't in Zahra's eyes. Adam was her protector, the constant in a life full of upheaval. She clung to him, and he, in turn, often said she was his whole world. For a single father in difficult circumstances, Zahra was both a responsibility and a source of pride. Friends later said Adam would brag about her resilience, her courage, her ability to bounce back from anything. Yet beneath the surface of their bond, cracks were forming, not in Zahra's love for her father, but in the choices Adam would make. In the years to come, those choices, particularly his relationship with a woman named Elisa Fairchild, later Elisa Baker, would change Zahra's life forever, and not for the better. Childhood dreams before all of that. Though, Zahra was simply a child with dreams. She loved dressing up, playing with dolls, and imagining a future where her disabilities did not hold her back. Teachers said she was eager to learn, though her health often kept her out of school. She sketched pictures, scribbled stories, and talked about wanting to be a singer or artist. She had the kind of imagination that made her believe anything was possible. And yet, even in those early years, there was a sense of fragility. The cancer, the amputation, the hearing loss, they all took a toll, not just physically but emotionally. Zahra needed stability, love, and protection more than ever. She needed adults who would safeguard her spirit as fiercely as she fought for her health. Unfortunately, her path would soon lead her away from the safety of Australia, across the world to North Carolina, into the orbit of a woman whose cruelty would erase all the joys Zahra had fought so hard to keep. In 2008, Adam Baker's life took a dramatic turn. While raising Zahra in Australia, he met Elisa Fairchild online. Elisa was an American woman from North Carolina, divorced, with her own history of instability. Their relationship moved quickly from internet chats to something more serious. Within months, Adam was talking about uprooting his life in Australia to be with her. For Adam, Elisa represented a fresh start. She was attentive at first, telling him she wanted to help him raise Zahra, to be part of their family. Elisa painted herself as a nurturing figure who could give both father and daughter stability. But for many who knew her, Elisa already carried a reputation for manipulation, dishonesty, and volatility. Despite the warnings, Adam pressed forward. In 2008, he and Zahra left Australia and moved to Hickory, North Carolina, where Elisa lived. Zahra, then around 9 years old, entered a new world. Far from the family and friends who had supported her through years of cancer treatment, got a fresh start that wasn't at first glance. Hickory seemed like the kind of place that could offer Zahra a quiet, stable life. Nestled in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains, the town had a small but tight-knit community, with tree-lined streets, local shops, and schools where children played on wide lawns. For Zahra, who had spent much of her childhood in hospitals, the idea of a normal life must have been appealing, but reality quickly set in. Elisa was not the warm stepmother she had promised to be. Neighbors, teachers, and relatives later recalled that Zahra seemed withdrawn after the move, quieter than the bright child she had been in Australia. Instead of blossoming in her new environment, Zahra appeared increasingly isolated. Elisa exerted strict control over the household. Friends of Adam noticed he became more distant, less independent, as Elisa's influence grew. For Zahra, the adjustment was particularly harsh. Elisa's own children were older, and Elisa seemed uninterested in treating Zahra with the love and care a child needed, especially a child who had already faced so much illness and loss. Signs of trouble almost immediately. There were red flags. Neighbors noticed Zahra often seemed subdued, even frightened. She rarely played outside with other children. Instead, she was kept indoors for long stretches. Some said they barely saw her at all, as if Elisa were deliberately keeping her hidden at a school. Teachers observed Zahra's struggles. She was bright, but faced difficulties from her hearing loss and the challenges of her prosthetic leg. Instead of receiving patient support at home, she seemed to carry the weight of criticism. There were whispers that Elisa was harsh with her, quick to punish, and impatient with her disabilities. Zahra's health also remained fragile. Though she had survived cancer, she continued to deal with the long-term effects of treatment. She needed encouragement, gentle care, and affirmation of her strength. Instead, she seemed to receive the opposite, judgment and distance. That Elisa's reputation in Hickory, Elisa Baker was not well liked. People who crossed paths with her often described her as manipulative, quick to anger, and dishonest. She had a history of failed relationships and legal troubles, including forgery and theft. Some in the community wondered how Adam, with his charming Australian accent and devotion to Zahra, had fallen under Elisa.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some modestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable.
Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds. No I'm not giving up, no I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind. I gotta make it, I'm saving every day to taste it. I'm patient, but my mind, it can hardly take it. I'm chasing a dream that I've had for several ages. A vacant, modern kingdom for the taking.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the
That disappearance became official when Adam and Elisa Baker called police to report Zahra missing. On the morning of October 9, 2010, a 911 call came through to police in Hickory, North Carolina. It was Adam Baker's voice on the line, reporting something every parent dreads. His daughter Zahra was missing. Adam explained that he had woken up and realized Zahra wasn't in her bed. He claimed he didn't know when she had last been seen. His tone was strange, not frantic, but subdued, as if he were reciting a script. Dispatchers noted it, though at the time they treated the case as urgent. Within hours, officers and volunteers were combing the neighborhood. Missing child posters with Zahra's photograph, the shy smile, the bright eyes behind hearing aids, the child-sized prosthetic leg, began appearing on telephone poles and in shop windows. News spread quickly. A little girl with disabilities, a cancer survivor, was gone to an unusual set of circumstances, but almost immediately, the case fell off. Zahra had not been seen by neighbors in weeks. Teachers reported she had been absent from school. Extended relatives admitted they hadn't spoken to her recently. It was as if Zahra had been disappearing quietly long before the official report. Then there were the 911 calls themselves. Just hours before Adam called to report Zahra missing, another call had come from the same address. Elisa Baker had phoned to report a fire in the yard. Someone had allegedly set a car belonging to the family on fire. When police arrived, they found a note on the windshield that looked like a ransom demand, warning that Zahra had been taken and demanding money from Adam's boss. Detectives were immediately skeptical. The note was sloppy, full of grammatical errors, and made little sense. Why would kidnappers set fire to a car? Why would they target Adam's boss instead of the family? The timing, a supposed ransom note hours before Zahra was declared missing, raised red flags. Community rallies despite the strangeness. The community responded with heart. Search parties fanned out across Hickory. Flyers circulated, vigils were organized, and prayers were offered. People who had never met Zahra felt compelled to help. After all, this was a child who had already endured so much in life. The thought of her being abducted was unbearable, but behind the scenes, selectively. She led police to areas where she claimed Zahra's body had been dismembered and scattered. Over the course of several days, investigators searched wooded areas and rural sites across Catawba County. What they found horrified even seasoned detectives that Zahra's remains had been placed in trash bags and dumped in multiple locations. Parts of her prosthetic leg were also recovered, confirming the identity of the child they had once hoped to rescue. The discovery left the community shaken. The little girl they had prayed for had not only been killed, her body had been desecrated in a way that showed utter disregard for her humanity. Elisa's confession in further interviews. Elisa gave conflicting stories about Zahra's death. At times she claimed Adam was involved, other times she insisted she acted alone. Eventually, prosecutors determined there was no evidence linking Adam directly to Zahra's death or dismemberment, though many suspected he had turned a blind eye to the abuse. Investigators concluded Elisa bore the primary responsibility. Elisa claimed Zahra had died after an illness or accidental event, and that she panicked. But forensic evidence and testimony suggested a darker truth, that Zahra had been subjected to prolonged abuse and neglect, and her death was unlikely to have been an accident. The autopsy was limited by the condition of the remains, but investigators pieced together enough to pursue charges. Adam Baker throughout the process. Adam maintained his innocence. He insisted he had no knowledge of Zahra's death until Elisa confessed. Investigators struggled with his role. Was he an oblivious father manipulated by Elisa, or was he willfully blind to the abuse happening in his own home? In the end, Adam was not charged with Zahra's death. He faced only minor charges related to his immigration status and other nonviolent offenses. For many in the community, this felt like an injustice. How could a father not know his child was being abused? How could he not see the signs? The questions still lingered at Elisa's sentencing in September 2011. Elisa Baker pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, obstruction of justice, and dismembering Zahra's body. The courtroom was filled with Zahra's relatives, friends, and community members who wanted answers and justice. Elisa offered an apology of sorts, but it rang hollow. Her demeanor during proceedings was often described as cold, even defiant. For the jury and observers, there was little doubt she was the architect of Zahra's suffering. The judge sentenced Elisa to 18 years in prison. While some felt the sentence was too light for such a horrific crime, prosecutors argued it was the best outcome given the available evidence. Elisa's guilty plea spared the family a lengthy trial and provided at least some measure of accountability. Public reaction: the case shook North Carolina and Australia, where Zahra had been born. Vigils were held, with candles lit in Zahra's memory. Strangers wept openly, mourning a child they had never met, but whose resilience had inspired them. As Zahra's story became a symbol of two things at once: the incredible strength of children facing hardship, and the tragic failures of adults to protect them. Many asked why authorities had not intervened sooner, why teachers' concerns had not been acted upon, why neighbors' suspicions had gone unreported. Zahra's legacy in the years since. Zahra's name has been invoked in conversations about child protection laws and the responsibilities of communities to report abuse. Her bright smile and photographs, despite her prosthetic leg and hearing aids, remains a haunting reminder of what was lost. She had already beaten cancer, endured amputation, and faced hearing loss. Yet she never lost her capacity for joy. Teachers remembered her kindness, her laughter, her determination to keep up with her peers. Those qualities live on as her legacy. Memorials were created in Hickory, including a garden in Zahra's honor. Visitors leave flowers, notes, and stuffed animals, small gestures to say she is not forgotten. For Adam Baker, the aftermath was one of shame and exile. He eventually returned to Australia, carrying with him the weight of questions he could never fully answer. For Elisa Baker, prison became her reality, her name forever synonymous with cruelty. And for the world, Zahra's story remains one of the most heartbreaking reminders of the vulnerability of children and the catastrophic consequences when those who are supposed to protect them fail.